So at the moment, Donald Trump is having an attempt on his life roughly once every 2 months. And that's concerning for everyone, whether or not you support him politically. He was on a golf course. He describes being grabbed and then having to dash off in his car. He said, "It's a shame I was about to sink a hugely difficult putt." During a 2-hour live stream, Trump suggested he'd survived 2 attempts on his life because God wants him to save this country. He's blaming the Democrats for the attacks against him, and he posted this on social media. This is what he said. Let's have a look. Here we are. The rhetoric, lies. I'm almost exhausted. Look at, how do I get through that? As exemplified by the false statements made by Comrade Kamala. Just goes on. So it's basically attacking her for what he calls the left rhetoric. The bullets are flying. It will only get worse. And then we go into caps lock, invade. Our borders must be closed. Come illegally. So we're on. Everything leads to migration and make America great again. I mean, I don't know, Zara, what do you think?
I think it's frightening that a presidential candidate has had 2 attempts on his life. Obviously, the response is to blame the Democrats. I'm no Donald Trump fan. In fact, I think a second presidency under him would be frightening. We saw what happened under during his first term with the Muslim ban, with the rhetoric, the racist rhetoric about Mexicans and so forth, and the attacks on reproductive rights of women in the US.
Yeah.
But when we look at the access that anyone can get to guns in the US, I think that's a conversation that a lot of US politicians probably aren't willing to have.
This is the weird thing, he wants more guns. I mean, this is the most incredible situation when you think about it. The guy had an assault rifle. He was 500 yards from Trump. He seems to be lying at the edge of the course, hidden by trees, with just the rifle muzzle pointing out. And the agent whose job is to go 1 hole ahead of Trump saw him, which is good on the agent. They did well there, didn't they?
The Secret Service did well this time. Of course, I think the first assassination attempt when he was at that rally, I think you could probably argue the Secret Service didn't do a good enough job. It wasn't because of God that Donald Trump survived this assassination attempt. It was because of this Secret Service agent that spotted the assault rifle poking out of a bush, which seems like quite a remarkable story. What really does concern me about this, in addition to the fact that we've seen another assassination attempt on a politician in America, is this blaming it on the other side, making it a partisan issue. There is something wrong with American political culture. People tried to assassinate the speaker, the former speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Almost, they really injured her husband in an assassination attempt against Nancy Pelosi. This is something that mad people on both sides of US politics do, and they need to do something about their toxic political culture.
So this is Ruth, the guy who was arrested, and let's have a listen. He's come out of the van, and there he is in the pink fleece or T-shirt. Very odd background, this man, former Trump fan, big supporter of Ukraine, tried to join the Ukrainian army, seems to have been cheesed off because Trump is basically saying Russia needs to have a bit of Ukraine in order to stop fighting. Whatever. In the end, it's crazy people can get guns in America. That's the biggest problem, isn't it?
There's absolutely no justification for any kind of violence. And I think when we look at even our politics in the UK, I don't think we're too far off. We've had 2 MPs killed in their jobs, Sir David Amos and Joe Cox. And we need to look at how rhetoric can be, used by people to enact violence, and how we can actually make our politics better.